Hello, this is Tammy with Talking with Tam on my first anniversary with the Talking with Tam podcast. As some of you loyal listeners of a year ago, you remember that on July 4th, my daughter Melody and I kicked off my podcast and I named it Talking with Tam. In the year since we started that podcast, I have found another website. I used to do it on Facebook and linked now to my website of www.talkingwithtampodbean.com, and that's something I decided to finally do. It was a little bit easier to format my podcast, gave me a little bit better look, and gave me my website. So I've been excited about starting that. And also it gives me the ability to build up that website and put in some money into that website at some future point that gives me some more tools to work on my podcast. So the last time I spoke with you, my listeners, was around March. And at that time, Anna was my reporter slash guru on American Idol, and she and I would go back and forth discussing the different talent, who we thought would be kicked off for the next episode, etc. And due to some scheduling conflicts and flus and things like that, Anna and I had difficulty getting back together to finish that off. So I just kind of wanted to end that, as many of you already know, that Scotty McCreery won. He is the youngest American Idol contestant to win. He's also a country singer, and as I found out going to Walmart, that you now can buy Scotty and all Lauren and about 5 different acts right off the bat that already have their little CDs out with about 4 or 5 songs on there. So for those fans out there, and you can also download, I'm sure, all kinds of music from them already, and they're on tour. So I thought American Idol was interesting this year. Some talent that I was surprised that didn't make it to the final, but Scotty was probably one of my personal favorites, although I didn't think he would win the whole shebang, as I say. So congratulations goes out to him. I hope that as we go into the second weekend of July that all of you are having a wonderful, eventful summer, enjoying the sunshine, and those of you at the beaches enjoying the beaches and enjoying your vacations and family time. I just wanted to comment on about a year ago I mentioned a great event, and I want to mention just one event on this podcast that's going to occur on July 16th, and that's in Poplar, North Carolina. It's the 5th annual Run for the Hills Push Rods car show. And I'm going to give you that website because even if you aren't in the area, I think it's something definitely to check out. Check out their website and the different things that they have on there. It is www.carolinapushrrods.com, and that's Carolinapushdrods.com. And that event again is July 16th. That's a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And the brilliant Dennis Gage will be there. So just wanted to give a shout out to all you historical cars is what I call them, and the push rods and all that. They have a pretty amazing amount of vehicles and antiques there. So if you're in the area, the website has the address and all that great stuff. So check it out and come have some fun. I'm actually going to get to come this year. Usually my children are in theater during the summer, but this summer they are not, so I will finally get to come to the Push Rods event myself. So if you're coming, give me a shout out, send me an email via my website and let me know. I'd love to meet you. So I think what's on most people's minds, and again, I didn't keep up with this case, the Casey Anthony case concerning her daughter. I guess about 2 weeks ago, I had to go to the VA with one of my relatives and sat in the room with a bunch of military, and it happened to be full of gentlemen. No women in there at the time as far as military women. So, happened to be in there, and we were watching the Casey Anthony case, and this was the first time I've actually spent 1 second looking at the case. And as I'm sitting there and watching the footage, and the gentlemen around me start discussing the case, which I don't want to go into great details to what they said, but these military gentlemen were absolutely torn up about the whole situation and her. And I mean, basically the input they gave me was they knew she was going to jail no matter what, that she was, quote, guilty of sin, as we like to say here in the South. And then one of my patients, as many of you know, I'm a physical therapist assistant in home health, and one of my patients had commented when I'd walked in about a week ago that she did not believe Casey Anthony was going to be found guilty. And she's originally from Florida, and she just explained to me that she knows the court system down there. I've been to Florida, but I have not lived there, so I don't know how she, what she meant by that. But she said she knew the Florida system and that Casey Anthony would be let go free because they were not going to be able to convict her. So when my sister in Little Rock called me, I guess it was 2 days ago, wasn't it? And started saying, can you believe what they're doing? They're letting her free. And to be honest, it took me a minute or two to kind of conceive what my sister was talking about. And then I said, are you talking about Casey Anthony? And she said, yes, they just let her free. I walked into the facility, the gym that I have an office out of, and walked in there and explained to people what I had just been told and wondered, was it true? Had anybody seen it on the television? And I think every jaw in there that hadn't already heard dropped. So, you know, our justice system isn't always great. I'm not going to pretend that I know what all was said during this case because, as I've said, I didn't watch it because the amount of stress watching that case can put a person under isn't always worth it. And I don't know if it's worth all of us seeing that case. But one thing I know is that we have a system that's supposed to figure this kind of stuff out, and we have to take it for what it is. And although a lot of us are very upset about it, I hope that somehow we can learn from this and make sure that no child ever has to be treated this way again. And wondered, were there signs that people saw and knew about that aren't really coming out, and that more of us need to pay attention to people around us and help them get help when they need it. As a side note, we also had the Charlie Sheen scene going on back when I was last on. And so I'm thinking that Charlie Sheen and Casey Anthony need to get together because they probably deserve each other, and that might be the best thing for both of them. I just think they're both very sad people in two very sad different ways, and it's good to know that hopefully there's not too many people in our country like this. So that's all I'm going to say on the Casey Anthony case. I know a lot of us have a lot of the political scene being thrown up in our face. We have a year and some odd months until the election, and from here on out, that's all we're going to be hearing, seeing: debt ceiling, voter ID, immigration, no jobs, schools, teachers being let go, the debate on how we deal with the public school system. It goes on and on and on. And I've been very involved over the years in those discussions. And some of my, what should I call it? Some of my frustration has led me to believe that I do not believe that there is anyone right now running that can fix our problems. So I feel like, again, and I've said this time and time again, that both sides are just not willing to work together. So as long as that's going to keep occurring and people coming to me for their vote and promising me that certain things aren't going to happen and then it happens under their leadership, I am growing more and more weary with our political system. Maybe at age 42 it's finally hit me that the majority of politicians are definitely liars, and the majority of them, when they get in there under whatever hat they want to wear, they all put on the same hat. So that's the sad realization. I honestly don't feel like there's one person out there that's going to be able to help. And so I'm at the point, y'all better help yourselves, because that's what it's going to take. And I think that's what our country was founded on. I think that's why people immigrated from other countries, is because they couldn't get the help in their country, so they came here to progress and to better themselves. And I think where our country has really gone downhill is that we continue to not help ourselves, so to speak. And that's not to say I don't believe there are people out there that need help. I definitely think that the children and the elderly of our country need help, and there are the working poor that need help. So do not get all frustrated and send me emails and get on my Facebook page and chew me out. I actually do have some common sense. I am just trying to figure out why the people that run for these offices cannot get this figured out. And I question their motives, every single one of them, Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, all of them. I think it's a cushy job. I'd like to take every one of their benefits away, including insurance, retirement, etc. The only one that probably should get any kind of retirement is the president, because I think that's a role that we can't take that away from. But it's just like I say with teachers. If you took away the benefits and you paid them a decent salary, how many would truthfully and honestly go into teaching? I think if we would start looking at that, we might actually get teachers that love teaching and let them do their jobs, pay them a good wage, and take away their benefits, as in retirement, as in tenure, and things like that. I think we would be surprised at who would be left standing. And again, on that note, I think you need to let teachers go back to teaching and not teaching to the test, because obviously that is not getting our country where it needs to be. So what do I know? I'm just a Southern girl that has worked hard basically all of her life. I'm the oldest of 5, and all 5 of us children have done very well in our fields. Many have worked from the bottom and worked their way up and do better than any doctor that I know, really. So our parents taught us to work hard, and that everything doesn't always go your way, and you can't always depend on everybody else, and who you can depend on is yourself, so you need to take care of yourself. And I think it would be interesting if more Americans felt that way. You may not have a 6-figure digit income, but you would have food on the table, and you might lead a good life and be a productive citizen and all that good stuff. So that's all I have to say on the political realm. I am really, I know a lot of people use their blogs and their Facebook pages and all that to scream politics, but I am clearly not going to be doing that as much or anymore. I'll definitely give input once in a blue moon, but that's not my pure motive for doing my podcast. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you. I have some surprises coming up in the next several weeks that I am working on, and I want to try to keep these under 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, because you guys have busy lives, and I appreciate your time spending with me and don't want to abuse that. So everybody have a great weekend. I hope to be back soon. Enjoy your summer and be safe.